Well, hey, what's up? Hey, well, just no big deal. I have no real set MO behind this. I'm just kind of bavarding. Uh, my schedule for today is a little weird. Not because my work schedule. I don't know. Not necessarily because of my work schedule. Yeah, I'm back to my normal Saturday hours. It's more just you know because of how I'm having to work it, which is a little irregular. It's kind of like me. My clothes don't fit because I'm irregular. My pants are always falling down because I'm irregular. But give me a cup of coffee, make it irregular. But yeah, maybe you got to be in New England or somewhere up north. Anyway, humana. That's neither here nor there. I was just thinking about my past as kind of a an old school monster kid, kind of grew up in the '70s, kind of got into it around then, and was kind of seduced into the life, as it were, the not really the life, but the hobby. I've been watching a lot of videos about like tarantula caretakers lately, and yeah, they frequently refer to the keeping of tarantulas as the hobby, and yeah, it's almost like a tarantula mafia or something. It's kind of fascinating. I have no desire to ever indulge in that particular thing. It's kind of like, yeah, it's just eight-legged bitey thing. That's okay. Plus, I always feel like I'm just by living, I'm kind of endangering creatures of that size because I feel like, yeah, I could try to pick you up and handle you, but I'm afraid I'd hurt you. And then, well, in the case of particularly with the old world tarantulas, it's like, yeah, I'm afraid that they'd hurt me. Holy hell, man! Just learn about these creatures. But just me, just kind of being fascinated by the information and whatnot, and it's kind of like, wow, wow. And those are pretty spiders, but I like them from like about 100 feet back. Maybe on the other side of a television. But anyway, just being the big silly that I am. But I was going back to the original topic. I was just thinking about just kind of the sci-fi and the horror. Just creature feature was or creature double feature, depending on what year it was big on Channel 56 when I was a kid. Um, 38 sometimes had stuff, but the big UHF channel that would carry this stuff was always 56. And a lot of that was kind of kind of fell into the horror sci-fi mode, and it was kind of my jam because I could always watch. That's where I could always catch like the kaiju movies and stuff like that. And there were more kind of science fiction-y stuff. And then later on at night, you had there was a guy. My memory is his name was Bruce. It may not have been Bruce, but he was kind of a horror host. I don't know exactly who the hell he was, or if his place of origin was even Boston. But he seemed to have kind of a bunch of test tubes and beakers and whatnot. And it was kind of like the kind of like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde setup sort of thing. A lot of boiling test tubes and whatnot. And he would show kind of more classic horror movies, and I'd sometimes stay up real late and watch those. Um, it's kind of more when you watched him, you saw more of the kind of the Universal shock package, or what I guess was maybe the later remnants of the Universal shock package. You get to see movies like Lon Chaney doing Dead Man's Eyes, or I think it was Lon Chaney Jr. actually, but I just kind of like. Did I ever get to see any of the classic stuff like The Wolfman? No, I didn't. Yeah, I got to see Boris Karloff doing the Body Snatcher. Did I get to see him doing Frankenstein? No, the Marquis stuff like that. I didn't get to see that until a bit later, and of course, now it's readily available to people, and you can kind of either grab up that stuff or see it somewhere streaming, and so that's all good. That's kind of an improvement. Just kind of as monster kids, we learned how to dig. As dig and research and try to figure things out, as opposed to nowadays. The kids on the internet and everything. They have kind of a wonderful, kind of wide open world in that respect. And thumbs up, kids. And just like back in my day, we didn't get to watch Frankenstein. We get to watch the Body Snatcher. And we were grateful. And yeah, I kind of was. I took what I get. I'm thinking the creature feature. There was always stuff from, I guess, the 50s. When I remember one of the first things, when I first fully started committing, it's like, okay, I'm going to try to watch creature feature as much as I can. One flick that they were showing was The Slime People, which, I kind of think I remember sort of spacing out during. I know I watched it, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Then there was stuff, I think there was one that I used to see a lot called, like The Thing at the Bottom of the Sea, or It Came from the Bottom of the Sea, or Terror at the Bottom of the Sea, and it was some weird one-eyed cycloptic kind of octo spider kind of thing crawling around the ocean floor and going after people, and I thought that was pretty cool. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, of course. Just you never just a movie I used to get a kick out of, but you'd get a kick out of Kevin McCarthy running around the streets at the end of the movie. They're coming to your town, they're gonna get you, and that being the final image, it's like, whoa, panic, and of course, a metaphor of the Red Scare, not necessarily for the Red Scare. They weren't trying to allude to how bad the Red Scare was. They were kind of a part of it, and of course, It Conquered the World is kind of the same thing. But yeah, I remember when they had that remake in the late '70s with Donald Pleasance, Donald Sutherland, and watching that and thinking, well, it was pretty good. Just Donald Sutherland at the end screeching while what's her name? She was also an alien. Sorry, ma'am. I'm brain farting on your name. I do this a lot. But she's kind of screaming. He's like, oh no, no, no. And a great kind of panic way to end the thing. I got a big kick out of that version. And I like the little dog with the guy's face on it. I thought that was hilarious. But I just remember, my stepdad who just passed away, R.I.P. My stepdad at the time just being kind of very angry and put off by that. He says, no, because he in the original good one, and the aliens were defeated, the seed pods were defeated, and all that. I know they weren't. You had Kevin McCarthy running around the streets trying to tell you, no, they're coming to get you. That's not really a victory, but I guess you hang on to you grasp what straws you can. There was one movie I remember, and yeah, a lot of the stuff I got to see on Creature Feature was very much products of the '50s, and Cold War paranoia, and just of course, just fear of aliens and monsters, and little green bug men, and whatever. There was one movie I remember. I don't remember the title of it, but it was kind of a funny flick. I barely remember anything about it, except I think it was one of those movies that kind of put me to sleep. It was sort of a threat from space or something, and yeah, the leading man and leading woman, who I think were a married couple who had kids, and they were like trying to stop it somehow, or trying to battle the threat somehow, and they end up getting obliterated at the end, and yeah, then they hold kind of a nice funeral for them with lots of military saluting them and everything, and there are two kids kind of sitting there looking solemn, and one soldier kind of puts his hands on their shoulders and says, "You lucky boys, you were their sons." And the two boys just kind of solemnly look out the church window, and the rays from the sun are coming down through the clouds, and you just see, there's the swell of music, and you just see the big graphic coming up, the beginning. As like an 8 or 9 year old kid, I just looked at that and thought, well, that's nice. Don't remember a damn thing else about the movie. I have no idea what that was. Maybe someone out there knows what it was. I don't know. And it's one of those weird things you rack your brain over. Just the answer may not be satisfactory, but you don't care. Uh, anyway, Creature from the Black Lagoon Cub. Just a little movies that got to me backwash or something here at chucking up the movies. Uh, Hope y'all are doing well.